Hi there. As I continue this exploration of vlogging, I'm not sure anybody calls it that anymore, but uh, this exploration of blog posts that are videos instead of long form writing. One of the things that I hope to do is to share ideas and keep conversations going uh, that I feel are important. And one of the most important conversations going on right now, maybe one of the most consequential ones, is the conversation around artificial intelligence. Um, and in the work that I do as a software engineer, um, there's a lot to talk about AI just within that uh, arena. But that's really only one small slice of what's going on. And by that I mean, AI being used to do software engineering, the elimination of jobs in that space, the rapid acceleration and creation of software. It's a foundational aspect, but it's just one slice. Um, the real meat of the discussion around AI ought to be about its influence now and the coming influence it will have over numerous aspects of our society, beginning with the way that we share information with one another and the fidelity of that information and the volume of that information. What I want to share this morning is this author, Yuval Noah Harari. Um, you may recognize him from some of his written works, Sapiens in particular, which I just found to be such an amazing um, story of the history of human civilization. It's a really wonderful book. I'm by no means an expert on the subject, but I found it to be just a wonderful um, telling of that history. Um, a history exploring history really depends on narrative, uh, the interpretation of narrative, and the way that we choose to express the facts uh, that have transgressed. Um, and and we use that same storytelling architecture in a lot more of human communication than maybe we recognize as it's happening. Politics is another domain where narrative is almost everything when it comes to politics. Um, the who and the what and the where and the why, most critically. Um, Narrative was woven into morality, uh, the the right and the wrong of life, and what we build and how we interact with one another. And so, someone like Yuval, with his talents, is really well positioned to, I think, help us understand the complexity of the moment. And he's been trying. He wrote a book called Nexus that was uh, just as well written as Sapiens, but the subject matter is a little bit more fraught, I guess, by necessity, because he's talking about artificial intelligence not just as technology, but actually as an alien walking among us, which I think is a wonderful way of thinking about it. If you just cast your mind to uh, any particular book or film about aliens that you've come into contact with, one of the central uh, conflicts in any of those stories is the unknowable, unreachable motive often, that in the dystopian, narratives always renders itself as the aliens are here to kill us. We have to figure out how to stop them. Of course, the technology itself is not an alien. It is just a really useful analogy. And he uses that analogy to stress some points, such as we don't know what AI can do. And we don't. We have all sorts of stories, like the ones that I was just talking about, dystopian stories of AI technologies taking over the world. And indeed, that's part of what, there is to be afraid of, is a rogue AI that will have access to all of the machinery of society and economy, and will have motives that have either been given to it maliciously by an adversary, or that, more frighteningly, that it will have determined of its own volition. And so, if you can agree that AI is like an alien walking among us, if you can agree at all that some or all of what Yuval has to say about it is true, then you can agree that there is a growing necessity to regulate AI, and to put some safeguards in place that protect us as a species and our minds and our civilization from some of the worst possible outcomes. Um, Yuval advocates for the creation of a CERN, that being the European Organization for Nuclear Research, that exists to safeguard the development of nuclear technologies, because we recognized through its use that nuclear technology was very dangerous, if not existential, if not existentially dangerous. And so it's with that in mind that he uses that analogy to propose what it is that we should be doing about AI. And so I want to leave you with this. The reason to start thinking about this now and talking with one another about it now is because it's it's very hard to argue that in this moment of political unrest in the United States, and in the world at large, that we are in a position to have a thing like CERN created to regulate AI. Um, but that doesn't mean that we can do nothing. The thing to do right now is to be educating ourselves on what it is, what it's capable of, to the extent that we can anticipate that, uh, and start having this conversation, especially in the United States, so that as we get closer to our next opportunities to decide who will govern us, uh, part of that decision making process can be what to do um, about this evolution that's happening before our eyes. So I hope that I've piqued your interest. I hope that you will take some time to explore uh, Yuval's work, and I will post some links with this video to help you along your way. Um, as I said, he's a very good author. He's written some wonderful books, Nexus is about this subject, about information networks leading up to AI, which is an important frame to understand AI in, is the frame to understand AI in. But then there's also his books, Sapiens and Homo Deus, which put everything that's happening now into the longer context of the development of our civilization. So thanks for your time, and I hope you will reach out to me if you'd like to talk about this subject.